All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming along to this webinar that I am hosting, but Fabrizio and Valentina are going to present. Um, this webinar is a special one because we'll be presenting two properties in northwest Argentina, owned and run by Socompa. And what we'll do is they'll introduce themselves and give a bit of background about how they operate, and then we'll go into the presentation. As always, it'll last about 30 minutes, and then afterwards we'll have time for Q&A. But if you did want to pop any questions in the chat box, then please do go ahead. So I'd like to hand over to Fabrizio and Valentina now for you to introduce yourselves and give a bit of background of who you are and how you started working in Northwest Argentina.
Yes. Hi, hello. I'm Valentina. Well, some of you might already know us. I have no idea, but in this presentation, I'm not used to do many presentations, so I'll try to be as clear as possible. A little bit of our story, how we started and how we ended up in the northwest of Argentina. Fabrizio went there in 2003, just exploring, even before 2002, just exploring and knowing the area, and fell in love with these beautiful landscapes and places around there. Well, we got together in the same around 2003 as well, and in the following years we decided to move both to Argentina. At the time I was living in London, and Fabrizio was visiting from time to time, and it took us 3 years to move definitely to Salta. The decision was taken because Fabrizio had already started with the tour operator, so he was already building up his own company, and it was a good, nice adventure for us to start in a new place. A new adventure, also a family as well, because at the time I was pregnant. We were pregnant with our first daughter. Both of our children were then were born in Argentina. So that's a little bit the beginning. And while my husband was starting taking around friends and families, and then clients, and growing with his business, I was a little bit bored, let's say, in the middle of nowhere. And well, I had the idea of starting inviting people to our house and offer them some meal and at a nice place where to stay, while at the same time, for me, it was good to know what was happening in the rest of the world, and people were experiencing a little bit of life in Salta with us. So that was the beginning of Finca Valentina, and where the idea of sharing our story, get in touch with the world. It was a both given and taking from the people who were staying with us, and for me, was the starting of a new job. I'm an architect, that I didn't say in the beginning, so I built it, Finca Valentina, from scratch. There was an old house, but little is left of that. And it was bigger, and in the years that followed, it grew a lot. So basically from the main house, we started building a little house where we were living with the two children, and then we moved again in another bigger house. And while the business, of course, was growing, we decided to build an extra cottages, all in the same area. It's almost 2 hectares of land. We are very close to the airport, very close. The view of the Andes is in front of us, and we are very close to Salta city center now. But back then it was like a trip to go to Salta. Now it's all a nice and fast road. But So it was a growing adventure for us and for the people who were staying with us, getting to know, getting a new experience. That's what we were trying to offer in the beginning and now as well. So the idea was always to make people feeling at home, and that's the same now, even if we're not there all the year long, because now we're sharing our time between Italy and Argentina. But the same, again, you can feel the Italian touch in the food mainly, as I always loved to have a nice service and a nice mix of recipes between my grandmother's and Argentinian recipes. So the girls that works with us, all the staff, the cooks, learn a bit of, from me. I'm not a great cook, but I had the recipes, and then developed everything. And today, to what people say is one of the best restaurants in Salta.
I can definitely attest to that. It was one of the best meals I had when I was in Argentina. And as you say, it's got this really amazing mixture of, the Italian cuisine mixed in with really beautiful Argentinian and Andean ingredients. But we'll take a look at Valentina, Finca Valentina in a little while in the presentation as well, so that people get to see a bit about that. Thank you, Valentina. Fabrizio, do you want to present yourself and then I can open the presentation?
Well, she speaks English better than I do, so I was very comfortable to hearing my wife. And I wanted just to add one thing, is that from the beginning, the idea was to open and to manage a kind of casa de campo. A casa de campo in Argentina, it's a place where basically you should feel at home. And that was the spirit from the beginning, and we believe is still there today. People, it's not a luxury place. It's a luxury place for the details, for the design, for the food, for the services. But I give an example. If you, and you know, Nicola, if you come to Finca Valentina, you immediately have access, for example, to the kitchen. The kitchen is the heart of the whole main building, and there you see the ladies, the girls that are preparing the bread, that are preparing the cakes, that are preparing your meal for lunch or the dinner. And these people are the same people that are working with Valentina, let's say, since how many years? 15 years, 16 years. So it's part of the family. As Valentina said, we are not there all time anymore. But the feeling is that you should feel at home in the Northwest Argentina at nearly 6,000 or 5,000 feet in front of hills that are more than 12,000 feet, 13,000 feet, but are considered hills there in the middle of the nature, but just 10 minutes away from Salta airport. That was mainly the reason, because we bought the land there because it was very close to the airport. So taking a flight and sometimes you can be for the day in Buenos Aires and come back. So it's very functional for people, for traveler who have an early flight or a later arrival. So I just wanted to underline this. There is a very important characteristic of Finca Valentina.
That's great. Thank you. Right, shall we start with El Peñón then? And then we can see some slides of Finca Valentina as well. Does that sound good? So I'll share the presentation that we've got here, so you can talk with that, I think, if that's okay.
Okay, so Finca Valentina, it's a kind of, let's say, our base. It's in Salta. You can use Finca Valentina for 3, 4 nights, 5 nights, 2 nights, 1 night as a base to explore the Northwest, the known Northwest. That means like Quebrada do Mauaca, El Valle Calchaquí, Molinos, Cafajate. You can even do on a daily excursion and stay in Finca Valentina, or you can arrive in Finca Valentina and then explore and have some nights in the region. Hostería El Peñón is something completely different, but from geographically speaking to landscape. El Peñón is in a very small village located at 3,400 meters, so around 13,000 feet. It is located just in the right place. From there, you can make some of the most incredible, fantastic, outstanding excursion in all the planet. We are taking more or less 600 people per year in this area, only our company and the Hostería El Peñón. And this, all the customers that arrive, all the guests that arrive, are people that are very, very good traveler. I mean, not because at cultural level, they have been to Iceland, to Namibia, to the Sahara, to Mongolia, to the US parks, national parks, just to say something. And then arrive to the Puna, arrive to El Peñón, and they say, it's impossible that this place is not so known as other places in the area. I would say Atacama or Salar de Uyuni. But we are pretty happy of this, that it is not very well known, because it's a place that, apart, sustained the Hostería El Peñón, a part of the beauty of the landscape is that still you are in front of one of the best deserts in the world, and there are maybe 10 people, sometimes yourself, and when there is a mass tourist there, we probably think about 30, 40 people. And nowadays, thinking about the very important destination where you are packed with tourism, and I don't know, we were talking about Venice the last day with a colleague, and say that they are now organizing night trips in order to visit Venice, because it's impossible to because it's impossible to have a feeling of the city during the day. So here is the opposite. Here in Hostería El Peñón, you are in an amazing landscape. This is the village. The blue circle is the Hostería. Imagine that the Hostería, it doesn't belong to us. We don't own the Hostería. It's a public concession. When we started to make trips there, it was run by the municipality, but it was very badly run. So the province asked us to run the Hostería, and we were enough crazy to say yes, because the Hostería is 8 hours driving, a little bit less today, from Salta. Imagine that if today the girls in the Hostería, the staff in the Hostería needs to buy something, not too many things, but well, maybe a pickup, to fill a pickup. The closest shop, real shop, it's 400 kilometers, where you have to pass you overpass 2 passes at 4,000 meters, and then finally after 220 kilometers, you arrive to the shop. So just to give you an idea of the logistic to manage this place. So it's called Hostería, but it should be called like a lodge because it's in a remote place, in the middle of the desert. Finally, we have 24-hour electricity, but since I don't remember exactly, probably 3 years ago, and nothing. It's an amazing project. Also, it's 14 years that we are running it, and we still have a 6 year of concession. The people that works in the Hostería is different than Finca Valentina. In Finca Valentina, as Valentina said, part of the family. Here, it's impossible that someone from Salta and Buenos Aires goes and live at 3,500 meters for months. So are all people that becomes from local family. They are not professional, especially in the beginning. They have to learn a profession. They have to learn to work in a company, to work in a staff, because they are not used. So it's all a challenge. It's really a challenge, but we are still there. We are very happy. It's very hard to manage it. We have traveler guests that sometimes comes many times means 3 or 4 times in 10 years, they have come back to shoot new pictures or whatever. And they are our, come si dice, testimony? Witness, and they tell us all the better things that we are putting, that la mejoría, all the improving stuff that we are doing. That everything there, it's difficult, but it's an incredible place, and it's an incredible location. Nicola, please tell us something to say if we need to go technically into the hotels, or it's good like this.
Sorry, I was trying to find out how to unmute myself because I hid the controls. I couldn't find. Anyway, sorry about that. I just wanted to say that the first few slides I had there for everybody were the very well-known Caprale de las Conchas, so the canyon of the shells, where you get all of those very impressive landscape stops that you get on the road down to Cafejate. So to get to El Peñón, yeah.
Just to know, it's a place where everywhere else in the world, like Quebrada de las Conchas would be a national park.
Yeah.
Because it's so incredible, so unique, so geologically important. In Argentina, it's a province park. Just that, no, a province reserve.
Yeah, exactly, and it's absolutely spectacular, and that route is very popular. You find a lot of tourists, but as you were saying, Fabrizio, like when you start to get further west into the Puna, this is where you get to somewhere where it's really remote and you don't see many people. And yes, as you were saying, like with the staff at Peñón, it's all locally run, and it is incredibly well run considering all the challenges and difficulties that you come across. So just, a bit of quick kind of product info about the Hostería. The food is really, really good. You've got full board here, haven't you, as far as I remember?
Yes, correct. You can normally we sell it with half board or full board. It depends on which day you are.
Yeah.
If you arrive or if you stay for more days. It has 8 rooms. Now they have electrical heating. Before we had some wood stove to heat the room.
That's a good point. I need to change that.
It's 1 month that now we finally have electric radiators, and they work perfectly. 8 rooms, normally twins or double rooms. They have all the same sheets or
linen,
like Finca Valentina. It's the same. The towel, same quality. So people
really comfortable.
Really comfortable. The rooms are very big. It is another very good thing that you are up there in the desert, but you have probably a 30 square meter room, a big bathroom, hot water, and a super Wi-Fi. Now we have Starlink. We are connected to Starlink finally.
Oh, I did not know that. That's amazing news. Well done. Okay.
Well, Starlink should work even better than the other provider.
Yeah.
And you find everything there. We used to have television. We eliminated the television 2 years ago, and it's much better. And because television gives you a lot of information, a lot of news from all over the world. So maybe your brain, and then it's a little bit confused and not so pure, like being there and use your telephone, your phone, if you want to get in touch with the world.
God, that's great. That's good news. And what really struck me about staying here as well was that it's all made from adobe bricks, isn't it? The Hostería. And so it's being in the desert is really nice and cool during the day when you go inside, and then it's really nice and warm at night, so it retains the heat, which is great. And they do things like barbecues in the evenings, sometimes for guests as well, which is nice. So if we want to kind of suggest what people do, well, not suggest, talk about what people do when they stay here, and I'll go through the slides. So, I mean, why do you go to the Puna? Why do you visit El Peñón?
You do?
No.
I do it.
No.
Well, you go to the Puna because, well, all the whole region, south of Bolivia, sur de Lipez, northeast of Chile, and northwest of Argentina, is it's geographically speaking, it's all the same, but very different, and it's just wonderful. It's a desert, but a very changeable desert. Each day, every 20-30 kilometers, the desert, the landscape completely change, and this is the highlights of coming to El Peñón and visiting El Peñón. In 100 kilometers, you expect to experience a lagoon, a color of the lagoon, with in spring, there is the Carachipampa Lagoon that we normally visit after the sunrise with the best lights. And it's a place where you can walk over a very small black volcano. You have this red lagoon. There is also the field of the people of El Peñón. They have their own animals there. And from the Carachipampa, all in four-wheel driving car, you cross a small desert and you arrive to Pumiston Field. There is a 50 kilometers long desert, but there will be picture. There is the Pumiston Field, Campo de Pietrapomes. It's a unique place. Look at this. It's 50 kilometers, and it's not all the same. It depends how old is the desert, how much eroded has been by especially wind, and you can explore it by your own. We go with our vehicle, we go with our guides. They are controlled because it's very easy to get lost inside of it. And after this, after the Pumiston Field, it is all about this picture. You arrive in a system of giant white dunes. You are 3,200 meters, and there is an amazing. This is the point.
Yeah, they're not quite in the same order, but yes, it's
an amazing system of giant dunes where you are alone. We arrive with the four-wheel driving car, and it's really four-wheel driving. It's not a joke. We arrive at the base of the dune, and people are free to climb, to sit, and to explore the area. So these three landscapes are just 25 kilometers from one to each other. The whole loop is 25 kilometers. And it's like being in three different planets. And this goes on every day. The other day, we can go and visit the biggest visible caldera, let's say crater in the world. It has, this is the road to go up there. It has 42 kilometers of the diameters. And with a four-wheel driving car, we go inside the crater where there are lagoons made of different mineral that gives different colors, hot pools, and there is a lagoon where from basically end of September to end of April, there are between 15 to 20,000 flamingos completely in a wild situation. There is no control, there is nothing, it's just wild there. There is the Salar de Antofalla, who is the longest, but very narrow, and the longest salar in the world, that is full of colored pools, small colored pools, blue lagoons, and surrounded by this kind of hills. There is Olga, Finca Valentina, Hostería El Peñón, together with Socompa. We need provider. It's something I believe that every project to work needs a real need. So we need people in the desert that work with us. Imagine that in the Puna, probably 40%, between 35 to 40% of the lithium, so of the lithium battery that we are using in Europe, in North America, in Asia, comes from South America, Chile, northwest of Argentina, and Bolivia. And especially in the Puna now, it's full of mining project. Olga and her husband Hannibal decided that the husband work in the mining with the mining company. Olga, and when the husband come back at home, they work for tourism. So we help them with money to build. They are building a second house. And now, in the beginning, we were just sending people from Hostería El Peñón, to eat at their place because Olga is a great chef. And now they have a very nice room that Valentina helps them with style, with design. It's not Finca Valentina, of course, but finally they are using nice stuff inside their house. And so the service is becoming incredible. And you can sleep in their place all year round now. And after 3 years of collaboration, we are also thinking to invite them to some fair in South America in order for them to understand even more what are they doing, trying to keep a foot inside of Turin while they are living the gold age of lithium. Imagine that the same house mining company would pay probably 3 or 4 times more than what a tourist or a tour operator gives them. But
I'm just going to share the map quickly because
yes.
I think that's important to show people the area a little bit more in detail. So, what Fabrizio was talking about just there is this area down here. Can you see that map all right? So you've got Salta here in the kind of the right-hand side, and then over here on the bottom left, you've got Hostería El Peñón, and then Antofagasta is just up here, further north. So this is where you're traveling on your exploration to the Puna. Those 3 places that we talked about, the Pietra Pumes, so the pumice stone field, the white sand dunes, and the black volcano, that's all in this area here, just to give you an idea. So the different routes that you can take basically take you really deep into the Puna region, past these incredible salt flats and mountains. And I'll be able to send you this map in the follow-up. But in the meantime, I'll go back to sharing the presentation.
What is important about the Northwest, then it's Valentina turn to speak, is that you can make, if you want to make a real luxury kind of trip with every night a very nice hotel, a very high level of services, you can do it. And you can stay in Finca Valentina, you can stay in Cafajate in some hotels, in Purmamarca in other hotels, in Molinos, in Colomé, and you have 7 days, 8 days of amazing experience. Food, wine, services, landscape, some adventure, because it's Northwest Argentina, so sometimes the road are gravel road and whatever. And then there is the Puna. So you got Finca Valentina that represent both options, and then you have Hostería El Peñón that represent, let's say, the more adventurous option to go to the desert and to experience the desert. But the Northwest Argentina, this is very important. It's a destination itself inside Argentina. We were talking yesterday with Nicola and Valentina. If you go to El Calafate, normally you stay 3 nights, 2 nights, I don't know. If you go to Puerto Madryn, you stay 2 nights, 3 nights, the same in Iguazu. And then you have to move and maybe you have to go to Ushuaia or take a car and do 600 kilometers to arrive to another place. No, the Northwest Argentina, it's a place where you can easily travel 20 days, sleeping every night in a different place. That is not good, I know, but just for an example, and still spend 20 days with an amazing itinerary. It's a real destination.
It is, I agree. And quite often when we were taking these long drives into the Puna, I would kind of forget where we were, which country we were in. Because I was like, are we in Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, and it was that remote. And when we used to come back to Hostería El Peñón, so this is the town or village of Peñón here, and you just reminded of how dwarfed you are by the mountains behind it, and how isolated you were, which I loved about it. Sorry, I'll just go on a bit more. So yeah.
To add something about both hotels, which I think it's very important, is what we have tried and keep on trying to do is something related with what now is very fashionable, is sustainability. It's a word I can't say in English. Well, trying to be ecologically very focused on that, and also trying to make the most of the resources we have. What I'm talking about is, before I talked about the staff of Finca Valentina, and mostly is women working with us, with me. And that is very important because in Argentina, a lot of women have a lot of children, so they have little time to dedicate to themselves and to their ambitions, right, to their work life as well. So we try to be very flexible, and we try to employ people around the area, so they don't have to do kilometers to get to the work. And that is something really important for me and for the people that work there together to help each other in that. And so that was one on one side, the women part, and then trying to use the resources. So we have a lot of sun in the northwest of Argentina, in Salta, and the same in El Peñón. So trying to use that to produce our energy and hot water, and trying, of course, not to be very attentive to the, how you say, to the garbage, to what we
waste,
our waste, which especially in El Peñón is an issue. We started that nobody was dividing anything. I remember cars coming back with full of bottles and stuff. Now is more organized, the same thing, and the same is in Salta now. It does exist to divide plastic and paper and stuff, but before it was something absolutely not known. And one resource which is very important, as you have seen most of the photo, is the desert. So water is one of the most important thing. So as well in that we try to recycle and reuse and offer to our guests water in order for them not to use plastic and stuff like that. So that was something I'm proud of, trying to make it better anytime. But,
yeah, that's great. That's really good to hear. It's always good to hear the different kind of energy.
Can I add
Yeah.
one thing?
Of course.
That is very important. When your guests arrive in Finca Valentina, stay in Hostería El Peñón, travel with Socompa, for example, but also if they stay just in Finca Valentina or Hostería El Peñón, they really get to understand that they are that you decide to send them in a place where local staff is considered, it's well treated. That is really the feedback that we receive, that we know that the guests understand. They see people that work with a lot of will, with a lot of compromiso, come si dice, with a lot of passion, with a lot of passion. It's not that they work because they need the salary. They work and they do a lot of things with the passion, and they can see from staff in the hotel, from the guides, and it's very important. It's very important because you don't see only the landscape. You see a system that is really treating everybody who works inside the company, inside the hotels, fairly. And when we hear a lot of projects that you do with the communities, those projects are fantastic, but always there is one base. The first stone is your company. I mean, inside your company, inside your hotel, inside your lodge, it must be like this. It must be perfect, or at least you must try to be perfect, and you won't be 100%. But this is a super important things, because your guest will be in South America, in Argentina, in the northwest of Argentina, in the middle of the Andes, 15 hours away from the airport, and see that you made them travel or sleep in a place where the staff is well considered, is growing, is professional, and etc. And I found it something that we are really proud of it.
That's great. I definitely found that impression as well. Definitely arriving at Finca Valentina, after those long journeys and as you say, smelling the bread and being welcomed by all the women who work there. And the same at Peñón, like the community of the staff. And they all gathered in the kitchen. You could hear them chatting and laughing, and it was just such a nice kind of atmosphere to arrive to. No, I don't mean to rush you, but we are slightly behind time. So if we can chat about Finca Valentina now, that would be great. So we've got a few slides on the hotel there.
Photographs, just to give you some data, the Finca Valentina is now 12 rooms. It has, as I said before, a couple of cottages with two rooms each with a outdoor dehors and yes, facing the gardens. Now, some photographs are in the winter time, and then there is the summertime with all green and flowers. We have a nice pool where people stay during the day and enjoy. We offer some activities in Finca Valentina itself, which is horse riding, cooking classes, which is a lot of fun, especially for families. Learned how to do empanadas, the typical empanadas from Salta. And we do offer cycling tours and amazing messages. These are photos from the villa. We in Finca Valentina, as I was saying, there is a main house with 5 rooms, and then there is a separate villa, which is this, which used to be our house, and with another 3 bedrooms, which can be rented separately or as part of the hotel. In the main, here is one of the standard rooms. It's really difficult to say which is standard, superior, deluxe. Mainly is the size, let's say, but all rooms are very different one from each other, but with the same kind of feeling, rustic, but modern at the same time. This is the suite.
I should add that just to make it clear to everybody, the Valentina is the architect of Finca Valentina. So, you are the designer, you are the architect of this really, really beautiful hotel. So I think the way that I saw it when I arrived was this really chic European, Italian, boutique hotel, but integrated into that with lots of really amazing textiles from Argentina and from the Andes in particular. So it's got that very quite unique style to it, which I really, really loved.
Thank you. It was fun. Well, you see in these photographs, the lamps are from London because we were living in London in the beginning. I was coming back with old bags full of lamps and stuff we would buy, and then added the things, buy things anyway. Again, these are the gardens. Now we have a little orchard which now is growing. Thank you to a lady who's taking care of it. So we try to use products from the finca as well. We cultivate ourselves. The restaurant has been added in the latest years and is a nice, cozy space facing the pool. This is one of our cooks. She's amazing. And we share also on the phone sometimes recipes. And now is the other way around. She calls me and I ask her for recipes. And the kitchen is where our children grew as well. They were always staying there, trying to pick all the good stuff coming out from there. This is the breakfast. In the morning we have these homemade cakes and breads and stuff. We try to do everything ourselves. And this is the buffet in the breakfast room.
Great. I think that. Oh yeah, just to also clarify, is that Finca Valentina is a bed and breakfast only hotel. But as Valentina said, you can book activities from the hotel, like the cooking classes and the horse riding. And also they can book any meals that they want to there. And, it's highly recommended that people stay here during their stay for at least, one or two meals. And then, yeah, we just added this extra slide in to say, how many nights to spend at each, but really as long as someone has, to encourage that kind of slow travel itinerary, essentially. Great. Well, we'll stop sharing the presentation here and open up to any questions.
I've
We
read
also,
a question about this compa trip. Let me see who was asking. Ed Chaplin. Ed,
yeah.
yes, I
Hi.
confirm. If you travel with Sucompa and you go around with the guide is always the same. He will take care of the guest from day zero to the last moment of the last day.
Perfect. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Any other questions at all from anyone whilst we have Fabrizio and Valentina here? Is the altitude a problem, and do you have oxygen for the guests? That's a good question.
It's a good question. Normally, we send to the tour operator a kind of a document where we ask some basic information about the people, about the traveler. And this basic information is the blood pressure, if they have some physical problem, whatever, in order for them to double check, especially if they are more than 70. Normally, people who are older than 70 are very rough and hard traveler, but the same. So the first step is to ask the guest if they're okay. And if they have any doubt, ask their medicine, their doctor. When it's done that, and the doctor say, you can go easily, and you have no problem to go to altitude, or a normal person that have no problem, they can easily come to the Northwest. There is no acclimatation. To be acclimatized, you need probably around 10 days, but you need to be acclimatized when you will do some activity, some physical activity. So you climb a volcano, you climb a mountain, you run 400 kilometers at above 3,000 meters. If you stay in a car, if you get off the car, you make small walk, you take a picture, you visit, but nothing really challenging at physical level. There is no need of acclimatization. Even myself, when I go to Hostería El Peñón for 2 days, 3 days, something very simple happened. My heart, the human heart, start to beat faster, and you breathe faster. So this help to have the oxygen is the same. Also at 4,000 meters, the pressure change. So you have less pressure. You need more interchange with the air, to have more oxygen in your body. So your physics change. Then what happened? Do people have sometimes a headache? Sometimes they have, but it's very important. The guide. Well, I've been a guide for more than 10 years. If you have a good guy and the guide tells you what to do, there is not only not drink too much alcohol, not eat too much, but it's one very important thing in the Norway. That is, to protect yourself from the sun. The sun is the enemy and the friend. It's not the altitude. If you do not protect from the sun, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you are cooked by the sun. So you are really cooked. You are tired. If you are tired, you will feel the car sickness. You will feel the altitude. You will feel a lot of things. If you put a sun protector, if you use the hat, if you use the sunglasses, if you drink, if you don't eat too much the day before, you eat just what you are used to, then normally nothing happens.
Yeah, I think having a hat was really useful. I found the sun was very, very strong up there. You mentioned when are you away? I know it can be very heavily. So Fabrizio and Valentina are actually based in Italy, but the Socompa team are in Salta the whole time. So you've got all of your kind of contacts there. I know it can rain heavily in Northwest in January, February time. Is that a good time to avoid the Puna?
No. It's
Yeah.
the best. Probably it's the best. It's the best moment to go. I would say if you. I mean, I don't know if you are British or German and you don't like rain, but if it doesn't really bother you too much to have a tropical storm, normally after 5, 6 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon, 3 hour storm, especially at low altitude in Salta and around Salta. In the Puna, sometimes it doesn't rain or it rains much less, but it's wonderful. The color are at the maximum, at the peak. Animals like flamencos and other animals, it's full, it's hot. So you start, you leave Europe, -10, 0 degrees, you arrive in the Northwest, and also when you are at 3,000 meters, there are 25 degrees. So you are in short and with a t-shirt, and it's just fantastic.
But the rains, do they damage the roads? Is it more difficult to drive around, or is it okay?
More difficult, but two things. We have four-wheel driving car. We have satellite phone. Each of our car have satellite communication. So it's our office. Consider that between Finca Valentina, Hostería El Peñón, and Socompa, we have more than 40 people working in the staff. More than 40. That is a big number in the tourism sector. So if something happen because one road is closed, well, the office in Salta already speaks with the guide, say you have to wait 2 hours. That's the worst situation, or you have to make a detour. That's the worst things that sometimes can happen. But with the four-wheel driving car, with our drivers and guides, it's our business. It's our business to do everything. And plus, it's an adventure trip. So in the end, it's really a
Yeah,
detour.
but it's still open all year round. And actually, I was also aware that in your winter time, so our summer time, it's also very spectacular because you've got like the ice on the lagoons, and you've got very beautiful light for photography. I remember our guide telling us that there were photography trips that particularly like to go in your winter time because the light was particularly good.
It depends, really. It depends if the photographer likes cloudy sky or clean sky. It's
It can be good anytime. Good.
It's nice all year round.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's nice all year round.
It's
Perfect.
very nice in Salta because it's all green.
Yeah. Yeah, true, true. And also I found that when we were in the altitude, when we were at the desert, all the storms were going on in the mountains, but they never came into the plains. Like we could just watch them all in the mountains, and the weather didn't really touch the plains. Like it changed quite drastically as it came in. It just cleared up, which I liked.
if,
Um,
if we can add something is that if you can choose when to come, probably the best months are March, April, October, and November.
Shoulder
These are,
seasons. Yeah.
these are the four magical months, but also the rest is different, but it's fantastic.
I think that is a great place to finish because we've just gone a little bit over time. But it's all been brilliant. Thanks so much, Fabrizio and Valentina. It's lovely to see you. And as I mentioned, I will send this recording on to everybody, plus the questions, and a few bits of resources as well. But don't hesitate to let us know if you've got any more questions. And yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. And thanks to both of you as well.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Thanks,
Ciao.
everyone.
Thank you.
Ciao.